I was thinking about this story the other day. This is kind of a weird story. Um, Scrubs versus seniors. Um, I had hopped around from school to school to school quite a bit, from like preschool up through sixth grade. Seventh grade, I get into another new school. At this point, this is like I don't even know now at this point. I have to do the math. Fourth, fifth school, seventh grade. It was a junior high and high school all together. So it was seventh through 12th grade all at the same school. Relatively close to my house. But my parents weren't really on board with the walking to school thing, or riding the bus. So, in order to get to school, they had to take me. Um, However, shortly starting school, they realized that there were other kids in the neighborhood that also went to that school, and maybe they could work out a deal where somebody would take me to school or pick me up or whatever. Um, I realized pretty quickly that for some reason the seventh graders are referred to as scrubs. I don't know if this is everywhere, but it was there. So scrubs are like worthless little worms. I don't know. When you're a scrub, you're at the bottom of the totem pole. Maybe that's true everywhere. It was definitely true at this school. So there was a senior who lived down the street, and he was cool and he was hot. He was like one of the popular seniors. And he lived just down the street, and our parents were friends, kind of. I remember being allowed to go over to the house, like the neighborhood kids were allowed to go over. They had a pool, and so we were allowed to swim at their pool, whatever. But of course, he did not say a word to me because I'm a little kid and he's a cool senior. But somehow my mom gets his parents to agree that he will pick me up because he's driving, that he'll pick me up and take me to school. Probably the last thing that guy wants to do is pick up one of the scrubs and take him to school, because you know how it is, like, where you're just trying to be cool, and you pull into school with your radio cranked, and we're very obsessed with being cool at that age, and so it is not cool to show up with a scrub in your car. I'm imagining this is what he's thinking. So she tells me, like, hey, he's going to pick you up and take you to school. So just, at such and such time, go wait out in the driveway and he'll pick you up. Well, I don't have any memory of exactly how long all of this went on, but I have like three memories of it. So the first one was that I'm waiting in the driveway, and he just goes right on past, and he goes to school. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. Seventh graders aren't great problem solvers. So I don't remember how I got to school that day. I don't know what happened, but I just remember he didn't pick me up. So then I thought maybe he doesn't see me there, and so I have to go stand somewhere else. So then I do remember a second time where I stood somewhere else. This time he slows down and he sees me, and I'm like, hey, keeps going. I know he saw me. Okay. Then there's a third time that I remember, and this really stood out because it was a total bizarre experience for me. He stops, the radio's blaring, he's in the middle of the road when he stops, and he's got a buddy with him. It's a van. It's one of those old vans, and where there's only two bucket seats, the driver and the passenger, and they've taken out all of normally I think you would have had bench seats in there. They've taken out all of the bench seats in the back of the van. There's carpet in the back of the van, and like really big speakers. And so they open the door and they're like, hey, you sit in there, and there's a folding chair, like a beach chair, in the middle of the carpeted area. And I'm like, well, that's not secured, nerd Liza. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, sit in that chair. And I'm like, okay. I just remember, this is so sad, but I do remember that they were blasting Madonna. I remember that because I was like, oh, Madonna's so cool. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So I sit in my little folding chair, like the kind you take to the beach. And they're up there, and I couldn't hear everything because they had the stereo turned way, way up, so it's super loud. But I can see that they're laughing, and I'm like, ugh, I think they're laughing at me. He takes off, and I'm holding on for dear life in this thing that's just, yeah, it was awesome for them. They were having a great time. And so there were several turns. As you can imagine, he rips it and Liza goes flying out of the chair, me in the chair flying around the back of the van. And they are cracking up as any good high school seniors would. It was such a different time. I think parents had no idea what was going on, which is my theory on why my generation might tend to be kind of helicopter parent-ish, because our parents had no clue what was happening to us, so we might have gone a little bit far to the other side. Maybe. I mean, I personally, I guess I shouldn't speak for everybody, but I support helicopter parenting.